Mira.
We're just getting started.
Okay.
So welcome to the Rivermore Library Trustees meeting for November 7th. First is public participation. Seeing none, we'll move on to correspondence.
None.
Nothing. Approval of minutes. We don't have the minutes from October 3rd, so we're making great progress.
We're going right through.
Treasurer's report.
Okay, that we can do, okay? As of whatever date this is, November 3rd, excuse me, as of November 3rd, the MMDT Basic Fund has $2,651.66 in it. 2651.66.
Hang on a ticker, I'm getting that 26.
2651.66.
Okay.
And the building fund has $417,646.61.
You're going to say that again for me.
I have it written down.
Oh, okay.
Susan.
Splendid. Thank you. Can't type that fast. Thank you.
And the Barth report did come through. Everybody has one.
We got it on a tiny sheet this time.
Yeah. Forgot legal size paper existed. Printing.
It's tiny.
We can do that if you want. So we need to take, I don't remember which number we take it from. Do you take?
I don't know, it says he needs the accounts for the transfers out of Bartholomew for the fiscal year 20 budget money, 15,000. But which accounts?
We take it from the, one of these gains columns, and I can't remember which one now.
Is it Indian Village?
What are we taking in for what?
I have, I may have notes on that.
I thought it was like anything 100s we took it from.
I don't remember.
Okay. Okay.
Which column do we go for? Ending earnings, ending...
No, if you can read my chicken scratch. Or if that makes any sense whatsoever.
Was it second century?
We don't touch the principal, it just accumulates.
No, we don't want that. We'll do that in our next meeting, because I don't remember which column out of their Barth report, we go through one of these columns, and I can't remember which one it is. I think if it's the ending earnings,
Ending realized gain.
or the ending gains. So we go through one of these and grab enough money to cover the 15 grand, so we'll figure that out for our next meeting. So I think Steve usually takes it out at the end of the year anyway. We'll make a note that we'll do that next. Anything else on the treasurer's report?
That's it.
Okay. Friends report.
Okay. I did go to the last meeting. That was all mainly focused on getting out the vote and things like that. So our efforts were successful on everyone's part. So that, I believe, was the main focus of that. There was talk of trunk or treat, but things that are...
Do they have the numbers from the book sale?
Did they have the numbers from the book sale? I think they did. It was, I don't have it written down. It was better than last year, I believe.
Yeah, it was
but it's
around
like
2,300.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember the exact number.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
We did have library night at the...
We had library night, yeah, we can go through that under public awareness. Fundraising and public awareness. So the fundraising committee met on Monday. You want to report?
You want me to report?
You were there.
Okay. So they've written a draft pledge letter to reach out to the people who have pledged to let them know that we passed, and if you want to start paying for your pledges, now's the time, and how to contact them and how to pay. Let's see. So far in pledges, we have 100, and donations, we have 197,000 in outstanding. 118 total pledges, and 339 total people have donated or pledged.
339, did you say?
Yeah. What else? We discussed going to talk to more companies and asking more people for larger donations to name rooms and just in donations in general.
Yes.
Judy's going to go ask some of the banks, along with Amy Charlo Lewis, and I think one other person, I can't remember who. Oh, you. Mini golf is going to be March 27th through 28th. We talked about who's going to do what. It's pretty much the same people as last year. Katrina's going to speak to companies about sponsoring. Megan's going to do the food. We also, I asked Nina about getting a one-day alcohol license for that day, and she shared with me with the application process, and I shared that with Katrina and Mark and Sarah. So we also asked Phil about engraving bricks, and apparently that's something, there's a company that does that, and we can talk to them, and when we have the CM at risk ready, they're the ones who handle that actually, because they're the one who built the building, so they'll engrave the bricks if we want to do that. And the next meeting is going to be on December the 9th.
And will they have a table at Holiday Bazaar?
We didn't discuss that, but I'm
The
sure.
Friends did, that did come up at the Friends
Okay,
meeting.
fine.
So the Friends will have a table at the
Okay.
Holiday Bazaar.
Good, good, good.
What day is the holiday bazaar?
December 7th.
Okay.
Book sale day 2339.
Okay, thank you.
Also on the fundraising, I believe we've got approximately $20,000 in either donations or pledges
Yeah,
since
no.
town meeting.
Yeah, since October 20th,
Really?
we've made 20,000.
They're going to do another push here in the next couple weeks, I think.
Okay.
And on public awareness, we had the library night at the football game that we shared with the Council on Aging. We did a bake sale that raised $400, so we split with the Council on Aging. Thank you, Susan.
Yes, you're very welcome.
The Get Out to Vote committee was very successful in getting people out. I don't think there's anything else really on public awareness.
I can think of.
Building project updates. So we met on Monday. We are hiring a CM at risk who's, I can never remember the name of the firm.
Commodore.
They were the low bidder of the three, but we didn't necessarily pick them because of the low bid. They were also
Right.
well-liked.
It's
So-
Commonwealth?
Commodore.
Commodore, yeah, okay.
The contract, I believe, is all drawn up and then just in negotiation or final stages of signing that.
Okay.
They hopefully will be at our next meeting. We gave the architect the go-ahead to get busy producing documents as quickly as
Yep.
you can, and sending them off to the CM at risk. The OPM has reached out to the Planning Board and the Conservation Commission.
You didn't say opium, did you?
OPM.
Sorry. Thinking,
Yes.
this is a meeting I need to go to. Okay.
The OPM has reached out to the Planning Board and Conservation Commission to get on their agendas for whatever permits need pulled and get permission. I believe they're going to require like another engineering review stage through another independent engineering review firm, I guess. So we're getting on their agenda as soon as we can.
So the Conservation Commission and who else was that?
Planning Board.
Planning Board, right.
So those meetings have not been scheduled yet that I am aware of.
Okay.
Because we're also waiting for a survey of the property.
And yes, we're waiting for a final survey of the property
Right.
so that they can say which parcel actually belongs to the library.
Okay.
That's pretty much it, I think. Trustee updates. I'm going to start.
I'm just very pleased that the vote passed and everything, so it was a wonderful sight to see all those hands raised, so I thought that was very gratifying.
I would say ditto.
No updates for me, except, again, it was very exciting to take part in the vote to pass in our new library.
I just, about the first time I've ever seen a sea of hands,
Yeah.
which was pretty good.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to say was about the company that we chose, Commodore, are very excited themselves to be doing this job. So we think it's going to be a real good fit. I don't think we're going to have any issues like we were maybe afraid of before. Sounds like they're going to be just who we want. As long as we don't do any cement work in the winter.
I don't think anyone would let us.
So I wanted to thank everyone for showing up to town meeting. I wanted to thank Susan for an awesome presentation and speech. You did a great job.
Thank you.
I also wanted to say that Sarah and I attended the Mass Friends of Libraries Association annual meeting, which was out in South Hadley. They went around, basically, there was a presentation there by a lady, I forget her name, but she's from Michigan, who went through about how to get volunteers. And she was going through, in her presentation, she went through like, what you needed to get volunteers, and she had all these questions up and says, and everyone's like nodded this, yes, that's what I need, and then she says, these all come from Firefighter Magazine.
That's right.
Because firefighters, a large number of firefighters are volunteers, so they have a hard time getting and maintaining volunteers, so it was a very interesting presentation. And afterwards, they went around, all the Friends groups got to say something that they were doing to raise money or awareness, and some of them had really good ideas that I think Sarah's going to bring back to the Friends.
Excellent.
Also, the library was the South Hadley Library, which is another Johnson & Roberts building. It was built in 2014. I believe it's gorgeous and has a lot of the same design characteristics as you can see in the plans for our building. They have a different view than us, but you could see how they work to optimize. Their view is of a canal. They overlook the canal out there. But it was the same idea. They had the same, large windows overlooking the canal as we will have overlooking the woods. So. And a lot of the same structure. So it was very nice to see that building and say, ooh, can we have that kind of feature in ours too? So that's all I have. Do you have any updates, Helen? Anything you want to share?
I was just looking at the South Hadley Library, seeing if I remember what it looked like. Any updates, anything I want to share? Actually, I do have something I want to share, but it's going to come when we want to ask for money, right? Do we want to ask?
We're asking for money? We're asking the Friends for money.
We're asking the Friends for money for the woman the other day. But I didn't know if are we asking the trustees for any money for the music? So we're going to take it, okay, that's fine. Then the only thing I have to tell you is that I'm going to do a little music program. And it's just really roughed out I'll let you go right around, for the spring. And it starts with this one. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
And that's just a rough draft of that, just to get going.
Grand. All right. 21st is a,
Saturday afternoon.
yeah, oh,
I
good,
thought,
oh, good.
That way you get all
yeah.
ages. And it's free, and it's something fun to do with kids before Christmas. When they're all crazy.
Now, it's
Oh, this is just great.
Cookies.
Oh, I'm gonna have to find a date, though, because my husband doesn't like that.
There's there's going to be the Girl Scout trees again,
Yes.
and people know how to sign up and when their raffle starts. or the
There was
auction starts.
something recently, right, Sam, about asking for, there's a poster somewhere in the library, I can't tell you right where it is, but it asks people for a wreath or a tree and how to go about it. There is a poster.
Okay.
And Park and Rec is going to do the Giving Tree, I think, again.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Nothing else, move on to director's report.
The staff received overdrive Libby training from Bridget Rodding from MPLC on October 8th.
Overdrive Libby training?
Yeah, Libby is an app
Okay,
they can use to access ebooks and audiobooks.
right, okay.
And Overdrive is ebooks too. So they said they really enjoyed the training. We're looking to do more training of that nature in the future. On October 25th, I attended the football game at Alumni Field on Library COA Youth Night. And then Truck or Treat was on Saturday, October 26th. Jennifer, Jeff, and I went. We decorated my trunk. We won second place.
Good.
Yeah. Jennifer was the Cat in the Hat. I was Thing 1, and Jeff was Thing 2.
Very
A
cute.
lot of kids that we handed out candy to. It was a lot of fun.
And books.
And books, and they loved the books. A lot of parents had little babies that, they said, my baby can't have candy, but I love that I can get a book and read them the book. Let's see what else. As far as material spending, we spent about 31% of our town books budget. Trust, we haven't touched yet. Gift, we've spent about 6%. And museum passes, we've pretty much spent all the money on museum passes. State aid, we still have $2,881 left until the next state aid grants are given, which should be soon. And then salaries, we're at 33% spent.
What did you say about state aid? What was that number?
That's on the paper, but $2,881.61.
Okay, gotcha, thanks very much.
Yeah. Usually,
What are we using state aid for?
state aid is used for things like some programs. Sometimes we use it for processing supplies because what we get from the town doesn't really cover it. Office supplies, miscellaneous things that kind of come up that don't really fit into any one category. Things of that nature.
We use it for travel sometimes too, when we go over, don't we?
Right, for,
People that.
yeah, for mileage, to cover mileage. Let's see, the rest is stats, and then at the end is a breakdown of what we spent on materials so far.
What's automatic mean?
Automatic renewals?
Huh?
Wait, automatic renewals?
Town materials budget, there's something called automatic.
Yeah, automatic renewals are, or automatically yours, sorry. Automatically yours are books that we have to get from a vendor. They're usually bestsellers, and they just automatically come to us.
Okay.
From the newest like the newest Patterson, the newest,
Right.
Baldacci. So
hot
we have a
authors.
whole list of people that you gotta buy the book when it comes out because you already have people waiting.
Yeah.
So what they do is we do those authors as automatically yours, and then that's just the way we
Gotcha.
categorize it for funding.
Okay.
So some of your numbers don't quite, you do what we're spent on the adult audio,
Yep.
but the budget kind of doesn't look that way. And the automatic, the numbers don't add up. But,
That was overspent on audio, right?
yeah.
So the
but-
balance should be
but-
a negative.
Yeah,
That
the
should
balance should be a
I
negative.
think,
It's just, that's a formatting error. The automatic one is kind of, that's a math error though in that one.
which one?
The automatic in the town budget. Says you budgeted 5,000, spent 1,900 and have 4,300 left.
Yep, that's
That's
definitely a formula error
yes.
on the spreadsheet.
There's also formula errors in the in the trustees' materials budget too. But It's okay, because we haven't spent any of that money.
We haven't spent any of it.
But the adult audio said you budgeted 1,000, and you have more than that left. So, when these things don't line up, like, since you overspent on the adult audio and you're not gonna have it from the trustees' materials, where did those numbers
Those
end up coming from?
categories, this is what Sam and I talked about just yesterday, as a matter of fact. When we fleshed out these categories, they were kind of like rough pieces of a pie. And we said, what do you think we usually spend on something? And we put those numbers in. And now, as we're looking at them, we realize, no, audiobooks are much more, we spend way more on audiobooks than we thought we did, so we know we're in the red. That should have shown up red, I don't know why it doesn't, but anyway, as 1567, we're over. So next year, when we look at it, we're gonna say, wow, we need to budget more for that, and maybe less for young adult graphic novels, or for young adult audiobooks, because they come, we now shelve them in with the regular ones. So this is kind of like looking at pie wedges of how we break out the materials budget. And what I think's gonna happen is, and I said this to Sam, next year we'll take out the periodicals and magazines and the databases out of that, and just not even consider them in my materials budget, because I don't get access to those figures, so it's kind of a fudge thing. I think the playaways also came in under audio, and they really, adult playaway should be their own thing themselves, and they're not in this budget right now. So we have to kind of, I guess, start moving some categories around.
Yeah, this is the first year Helen and I are
Yeah.
trying this, so we're still working
Okay,
out the
It's a
kinks.
playaway.
Playaway is a single-use MP3 player. It's, what it is you get earbuds and a single-use, it'll have one book on it,
Oh.
and it's by Find a Way World. People like it that walk, or that, it also has, a lot of people's cars now don't have CD players. So with a MP3 like that, you can just plug it in, and you can play it through your car speakers, so people like it for that reason.
That is so cool. I had no idea.
Yeah, we have lots of them.
Oh my
Obviously,
gosh.
lots more than my budget.
That's very cool.
Yeah, but we'll have to try to reallocate. I think what happens, I tried to reallocate, and that's what screwed up the formula. I'll have to have a good look at that. Go
So
ahead.
my other question is, outside of periodicals and databases, would you expect, with it being a third of the way through the year, that you spend a third in each category? Or?
No, because what happens is, this is the first time we've done it, and so what we're finding is, there's categories we way over budgeted for. So
Right,
I
right.
might only spend 20% in
Well,
that category.
I understand that there's some that you have over budgeted for, but if you had the numbers correct,
Mhm.
would you expect that each category would be basically a third of the way through, or are there some of them that are front-loaded or back-loaded?
They're front-loaded because when July 1st comes every year, I have, like reams of things that people give me that they've been waiting on. Diane will say, I need the MCBA books. Other people will say, I need these bestsellers that we don't have. Then we'll have people that need summer reading. So the first month of July is really front-loaded for the budget.
Okay.
What did you say?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons we decided to
Yeah.
do this, is so that we keep better track of it, so that when we get towards the end of the year, we're not trying to figure out what we're gonna pay for.
Speaking of summer reading, I did some professional development on Tuesday. We're revamping our summer reading program at the high school. When would it be optimal to know what books we have chosen?
What would you say? Probably.
June?
Oh, that's
Earlier than
late.
that?
People get, yeah,
Yeah.
because we always run out of money. I remember going to the
Oh, right.
school once before, years ago, and begging them for money over there. How about May? Because that's before the end of our fiscal year.
Okay,
Yeah.
I will pass that along.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, thank you.
But that gives us time to order them, figure out how we're going to pay for them, process them.
Yeah.
Actually, I think, I remember Gene saying there was 1 month where they didn't even get the names of the books until
So after.
midsummer,
Yeah.
and it was late, yeah.
So Mark, I'll look at the formulas. Actually, I'll have Kevin help me look at the formulas and look at it again. What I'd like to do is move some from children's fiction to be honest, and young adult fiction, and move that into categories that I think really like audio and play away, where it's just so expensive.
So it might be nice if you added a column that just basically told you the percent spent, too, right? That might be helpful, so you can see.
See where you're at.
Because the numbers themselves, the raw numbers aren't probably as,
As important as the percentage of the budget that's left.
yeah.
Agreed. I agree.
And the numbers are gonna straighten out too where they don't add up, right?
Yeah,
Of course, yeah.
that's just a cut and paste.
Yep.
Sure.
Excuse me.
Okay. Anything else on the director's report? You're missing the notary numbers. I
So
wanted to see
busy
who's
this
winning the
month.
competition.
Yeah, you gotta get going soon.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just that Andy is faster than you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go stand outside with the sign.
I can notarize.
Maybe your thing one shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Old business, the recycling program request.
So I did contact the Board of Health, and they'd never heard of a program like this. They didn't see a reason for it or against it. They said it was really up to you guys as the governing authority of the library as to what you wanted to do. But as far as I could tell, there wasn't an issue.
So I also talked, I forget when we requested it. She couldn't be here tonight, she has another meeting. She said she could come to our December meeting if needed. So there's it's TerraCycling healthcare products, basically, like used deodorant containers, mouthwash, floss containers, toothpaste tubes, things like that. There's a box at the dump. It's probably 1.5 by 2 feet by 1.5 feet, something like that. Your typical yellow recycling bin type thing with a flip-up lid. She was.
Yeah, we have pictures.
Yes, I sent pictures. She was hoping to put them elsewhere other than the dump so that it's accessible to more people and more hours. Because to use the dump one, you'd have to have a dump sticker and you have to be there on dump hours, whereas the library has different hours. And Susan, you said there was mention of doing one at the school?
There's a green team at school, and that team had been approached also about this, and I think that they were speaking with this woman about this. So
And she also does one in the Westford Library, I believe. And she says there's been no complaints about it that I know of. I didn't contact Westford. I don't know if you did. She said she could potentially do a smaller bin if she didn't take mouthwash containers. That the mouthwash containers are large and take up most of the space in the bin.
how often does she empty them?
She told me this, and I do not remember.
Okay.
What's the benefit of recycling mouthwash containers through this venue than just the way we do right now at the dump?
I'm not sure what the difference is on recycling the mouthwash containers. I know there's some of the containers that, like the toothpaste tubes, can't be recycled at the dump, and they can be recycled here. So I don't know why, personally, you would take one to this
Right.
versus the other.
Okay.
I could see where you'd take, things to the TerraCycle that can't be recycled elsewhere, but
And this is through Tom's of Maine, and so Tom is doing this?
it's a TerraCycle program. It might, I don't know if it's through Tom's of Maine. I mean, no, you can
Because that's how it's
circle.
been advertised, that
That's
Tom's
what
of
it
Maine
says
is part of
on-
the sponsor for
It
this.
could be, but
Yeah.
you don't have to, it's not just Tom's of Maine
No, I get
toothpaste
that.
and things like that that can be
No, but it's-
recycled. But they might be one of the sponsors. I'm not entirely sure.
Where does the stuff go to get recycled?
I do not know where she takes it.
She just said she'll come and pick it up and recycle it herself.
Yeah, but where? If she can recycle toothpaste tubes, why can't we? Do you know what I'm saying?
You mean, why can't the town do it?
Yeah.
The town probably would have to contract with another vendor and.
Well, but where is she taking
Is this
that?
still, like, I don't mean to be nasty about this, but toothbrushes and stuff, right? Is this a Board of Health?
That's why I contacted them. They said that it's not an issue for them.
Because I'm thinking it's kind of like, almost like medical waste in a way,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So, So, she will provide a box, or we can get the boxes if we want to do it, and then it's just a matter of where we could fit the box. And there's not a lot of space left for boxes right now,
No.
is one of the issues. So we would have to figure that part out.
Okay, I'm all for recycling, but I 100% don't like this at all in our library, period. Inside or outside. If you're gonna have that, put it over by the dumpsters. And let it come and pick it up there. It's plenty public right there. And I have an issue with germs too.
Well, I'm a germaphobe, so don't go on me.
Or, I mean, why not just put it in it seems to me in the lobby of town hall, you know, the entrance there, if you're gonna do that. That's, lots of people come in there too. I don't know. It just feels like medical waste that was actually. I don't know, and I don't know if the high school is gonna end up doing it or not.
Personally, I don't think it should be inside of a building at all.
I don't have a problem with it.
I guess I'd like to know more about it. So she can come to a meeting?
I believe she can come to the December meeting.
Okay.
I can ask her to come.
And how well will these items be rinsed out is my concern too, because,
Well, you
I
have
don't-
no control over
Yeah.
what state people turn them in,
right.
but
I don't know, I had a fruit fly problem in my house, and they were attracted to everything. So everything we put in the recycling in the house, they were hovering over. So you had to rinse things very well, and I don't know.
I can't imagine
Depending on
anything
this,
that they'd be attracted to anything related to
Minty fresh?
yeah, the mouthwash was an issue, I remember. over the
Bugs
summer.
don't like mints.
I don't know, they liked my nail polish remover, so I don't know what, I don't know what that was about, but,
Okay.
I mean, I don't know.
So we can have her come to a meeting. We can also talk to town hall. Maybe we can talk, I don't know who would be, I'll talk to Nina and see if there's a spot. My bigger concern is not what's the container itself, or what's in the container, it's just where it's gonna fit. I don't know how much use the existing containers get. I noticed the Loaves and Fishes box is pretty full. I don't know who comes and empties that or how often. But right now, there's containers underneath, basically by the water fountain, and there's not a lot of room for more. So we would either have to clear out some of the ones that are there if they're not in use, or create another space, which I don't know if a space by the back door would be a better spot for containers or not. The back door seems to be getting a lot more use than the front door now, so maybe it makes more sense to put things down there, but I don't know where we would put things down there,
Yeah, that would also be an awkward place.
so.
Actually, maybe the back door is the front door now.
Yeah, basically.
So, okay, I'll ask her to come to our December meeting, and we can see about, I'll talk to Nina about putting it in the town hall, because that's actually open as many, if not more hours, and, okay. Budget.
So that's the sheet. So I've met with the new finance director, Cheryl, and I also met with Steve Moore, he's our liaison to FinCom, and I've actually already put this into Munis, but basically, this is the budget I'm presenting for fiscal year '21. So I spoke with Cheryl, and I informed her that usually we met and we sort of talked about the budget and what's been done in the past. And she asked me why the trustees are giving us $15,000 every year, and I explained to her that what the town has given us in the past did not help us to reach the mark. So she said that's weird, and that we shouldn't be doing that. But she said it was too much to just get rid of the $15,000 altogether right now, so she suggested that I start increasing the amount I ask of the town. So this year I'm asking for the town to give me around $127,100. From trusts, I'll be asking for $10,000 for materials. The Friends usually give us around $11,000 between museum passes, and there's a couple of databases that they pay for. So that adds up to $148,100. And to reach tomorrow next year, we'll need 138, so that'll give us an extra 10,000 to play with. As far as expenses go, I've asked for increases in office supplies, processing supplies. Again, what the town gives us usually for processing supplies is not nearly enough, and that's where we take money from state or from gift donations. So I've asked the town to increase what they usually give us to 4,000. Travel, that's, again, we usually don't get enough. So travel is things to cover mileage, so when the staff go to workshops, when we go to committee meetings, I haven't asked for mileage pretty much the entire time I've been here, because if I asked, all the meetings I go to, I'd wipe it out. So I have asked for an increase in that. And then I've asked for 2 new lines, programming and programming supplies. So yes, we do get money from the Friends, but I think the town should kick in their share too. So I've asked for them to give us $2,000 for programming and $1,000 for programming supplies. So altogether, that takes us to $726,803.51. What I didn't talk about was payroll, which is on the other side of the sheet. Payroll, I've taken a look at increasing our hours back to where we used to be. So right now, we have about 45 hours that we're open. I'd like to take us to 49. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we open at 1, but every Tuesday and Thursday, right, Ellen, there's someone here
Oh my gosh.
at 10 or 11 in the morning, ringing our doorbell, why aren't you open?
Yeah.
You know, and so we'd like to open earlier hours, and then when we do get our new library, maybe change the hours that we're open till that we close, because sometimes at night there's not a ton of people, so we're a little lopsided as far as what hours we should be open. But anyway, so in order to cover that, I've asked to increase certain staff hours. So right now, Helen's at 30, but I know she does way more than that, so I've asked to take her to 35. She's salaried, so she kind of gets what she gets based on the 30 hours, but she does way more than that, you know? So, and then Andy, as head of CERC, she would be a big part of increasing hours. So right now she's at 26. I asked to take her to 30. ATSCO, take her to 12. And then our 3 library assistants, they're all at 6 hours, and I asked to take them to 10 hours. And that would help cover the CERC desk during those extra hours. So altogether, right now our FTE, our full-time employment equivalency, is 8.125. If we got the extended hours, it would take us to 8.525, an increase of 0.4.
That's not bad. That's good.
I don't think that's bad.
No.
So when I spoke to Steve Moore, the FinCom liaison, he said it looked okay to him, but it's really up to the selectmen. And Cheryl said the same thing, that she's okay with it, but I just have to provide proof of why we need these things.
What's Cheryl's last name?
Hicks Stella, dash Stella,
I'll look it up.
hyphen Stella, sorry, couldn't think of the word. And then as far as state aid, so I never know exactly how much we're gonna get in gift and donations, but I sort of averaged out what we usually take out. So for programming, I'm gonna try to take out another 2,500 for programming out of gift, and 4,000 out of state aid. For books and materials, sometimes we have a little extra that we need, so we take it out of state aid. So that's $1,000. Programming supplies, $1,000 from gift, $1,000 from state aid. Processing supplies, again, it's kind of a niche market, so they charge us a lot for the things like covers and barcodes. It's a lot more than you would think. So take out of gift and state for that. Office supplies, same thing. Sometimes we need more for that, so I'm taking 500. Technology, so we're always trying to offer new things like Kindles and iPads, and so that's where this technology line is coming from. So that'd be 1,000. Staff meeting supplies, that'll be things for like staff meetings, food. I'm not allowed to take it out of the town. So it's either gift or state aid. And travel, again, for mileage to cover the difference from what we don't get from the town. Yeah. So altogether, when you include everything from the town, state, and gift, I'm estimating we'll have an income of $783,303. And that's a surplus of $11,350 over what I anticipate our expenses will be. So that gives us at least $11,000 to play with.
So Sam, that total programming includes, like, summer reading and all that jazz, right? Like, from the Friends, the $5 grand?
I figure with the new library coming, we can offer way more programs.
So these programming supplies and office supply numbers from, these things up here on the upper right, are they in the same categories as the ones in the lower left? You just put them for different,
Right, so the one on the left is what we get from the town, the one on the right is what we get from gift donations and state aid.
Because they're not my stuff, right?
Well, they're
Except for
not
the
what we
state
get
aid,
from the,
right. That's
it's
the
not
$1,000
considered part of our expense line from the town, what I'm asking the town for. So
What does MAR stand for?
municipal appropriation requirement, it's 19% of the total that we get from the town.
Okay.
So if we get $600,000 from the town, it's 19% of that is what we have to spend on materials, like books, DVDs,
so
databases.
if I'm adding this up, so you're planning on spending a little over $10,000 in programming?
I'd like to, yeah.
Okay. And that's not taking any programming money from the Friends?
That
is.
That is.
Yes.
There's no line for the Friends, there says programming. On the Friends,
Oh, that's right.
there's 2,000 from the trust, 2,000 from from the town, and then gifts and donations and state aid. So,
Yeah, so there should be $4,000 there from the Friends, because that's normally what they would give us. So altogether, it would be $14,000 in program.
okay.
You're right, I think there was a version of this that had that in there, and then, same thing, cut and paste and copy. Missed something along the way.
Next meeting, I'll look at yours, you look at mine before.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay, I see, okay. So, can you, I'm a little confused on the total, the line that says total library income is 783 and expenses are 771, so where's the what are you figuring is the?
The income?
Yeah, you're saying we're getting X from the town, the income is town trust, Friends, gifts and state aid?
Right. So when you add 726,803 from the town, 12,000 from the trustees, $11,000 from what the Friends give us, 4,500 in gift and donations, 12,150 from state aid, that all should add up to 783,303.51.
Okay. That seems high. If your 749 number's right, then you just added another,
A lot of the difference comes from the increase in the hours request.
no, I'm not saying that, I'm saying 783 seems high. Maybe I'm just missing something. Because you have 749 there, and then another
25.
20,000 on the other side, right? 4,520,
I think it's 12.
oh wait, where did the,
And 13, 25, no?
I'm just confused here.
What numbers are going?
So, on the one line, you have gifts and donations of 4,500, and then down below, you have gifts and donations of 15,000. So I don't know where the extra 10,000 in the gifts and donations came from. That's one question.
I think 15,000 is what we usually have in 4,500. We don't always spend the entire gift amount.
Okay.
So we don't just get $4,500 in gifts and donations. We get more like $15,000. So I think that's where the $15,000 came.
And that's where you're saying the surplus is coming from, is
Right.
extra gifts. Okay. Okay. And we're spending the 2020 state aid in this, is the plan, not the 2021? Do we know what the 2020 number is yet?
So that's the other part, is the 2020 state aid. It kind of comes in between the two. So we won't get it until January,
Right.
but the new fiscal year starts in June, so there's still money left over, but then
So we should be spending the 2020 state aid in 2021, right?
but it doesn't always work that way because we come up with,
2 payments.
right,
You get two
we get
payments.
two
Yeah, we
payments.
get a payment in like January and another one in May, but we don't have to spend it till the following, what I'm saying, we should spend it the following year, right? So-
Yeah, I understand that, but we also have expenses that aren't covered by the town that we have to use for the state aid for. So like processing supplies, we can't wait until 21, fiscal year 21 to spend.
But if we spent this, okay, so we should be budgeting the state aid for 2021 based on what the check is for 2020. What the check we get for this year is basically how much we should be spending next year, because then we know, right? And you have both of those checks before the fiscal year starts.
Right.
You might not know what the number is for 2021 right now, but you'll probably know it in the next month, right? The first check comes in January, I think, right? So they tell you pretty soon what the number is. But that's the number we should budget for the state aid, right? And it plans that. And then if you need to take more out of gifts or donations or whatever, then we should.
Now, I'm confused because says 12,000 in state aid, and that's the 2 payments of state aid.
Mhm.
And that's about what we get, right, the 6 and 6?
Mhm.
So didn't we do that?
No, I'm saying whatever the number is that you get, we'll get the notice like December 15th or whatever, what the number is. And that number for the state aid is what you should plug into the next year's budget,
Okay.
right? And then plan on spending that, and then if we have extra, then if we need, then if state aid is low, you take more out of gifts and donations or whatever. And the other number that's actually missing on here is if we're doing a scholarship, we should put that in a budget line item somewhere, so we know that we're taking that out of trust funds, too, but,
That comes out of MMDT though.
no, well, it comes out of something, but we should account for it somewhere.
And we're doing scholarship again?
Well, that's on the agenda for next month,
Okay.
I think. When do you have to present this to, when Cheryl's already?
There's not going to be a Super Saturday.
There's not going to be, so.
No, so there will be, but it's only for school, police, fire, and highway. All the other departments don't have to be there.
And do you know that date?
No.
Okay,
I think it's in December.
okay.
And I assume we're not asking for anything for capital this year?
And I asked them if we had to do anything as far as the building project, and she said, no, don't worry about it.
Okay. Okay. Does anyone else have any comments on the budget? Okay, so now we just have to start going to the Selectmen and Finance Committee to get our extra hours. And do you have to do the write-up again on why the increase and what that means?
Yeah, I already did that. So this year, we're just doing it in munis, so everything gets put in there. We don't have to write up like in the past, where we had to write a sheet up.
Okay, so these extra, I don't know, 1, 2, 12, 16, 15, 18, these extra 23 hours.
Can I say
A little more
something
than that.
about the extra hours as far as the processing clerk and myself, to be honest? Our budget has to increase for materials, as you know, 2.5% every year. Well, think about it. For 10 years, I've probably been pretty close to the same hours, but moving 2.5% more material, which, when you take it by that, is 20% more material. And that goes covering and processing 20% more material with the same number of hours. So I think on that note alone, regardless of the increasing hours, it's the increased workload that is apparent to me because of the meeting the requirement.
So along those lines, should we write it up as two separate requests in munis? One for Helen and one for the processing hours and one for the extra open hours, right?
It doesn't work that way in Munis. You have to, I insert her hours and then I insert why I think her hours should be. So it is technically two separate.
So each person's hours is separate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so for each person, I have to say, this is how much I think they should make, step increase. So if it's like me, I just say, step increase, regular step increase. But for Helen, I said I put in like 3 paragraphs, saying, she works extra hours, she's the assistant director, but she also does this and that. Same thing with the other people. I wrote like paragraphs worth of stuff in the notes field.
Okay. So how and who and when do we lobby for these hours?
It would be the selectmen, and we're still in the middle of it. We just started downloading everything, they just started downloading everything from Munis. So Cheryl's new, so I'm not sure. She's kind of chugging along. So I will let you guys know when, but there's no set date that I've seen.
Okay. And if there's anything we can do to help, so what is your actual, what's not actually listed on here is what the actual budget increase is from the year before? Or
Yeah, it's $28,029.
Oh, well, the regular, so 525 is what the 2020 budget is? So the $28,000 is not just the adding hours? That's step increases and everything?
Yeah.
Okay. So adding the extra hours costs less than $28,000? That's what we're saying? I'm just trying to be clear here.
Yeah, me too. It seems
It's
low.
actually on the,
Actually, we can tell from the other sheet.
yeah.
And what?
It's $32,878.50.
So what? So the step increases are $5,000 and the rest is,
The rest is the hours increase.
okay. Okay. And since we had the extra above the MAR, we're covered for,
I don't think the step increases can only be $5,000. Think about it for a minute.
well, most of the librarians have been here long enough, they don't get step increases.
There's only 2 people, because they changed the way it works now. It used to be we're on 8 steps, now we're on 10. So then everybody got changed. So I think Jean is the only person that's still at step 10 for the last 2 years. I think Diane's about to become a step 10, or maybe this is the second year she'll be a step 10. And then everybody else
What's up?
is up. It's just going to step up. It's,
So $5,000 seems low for step increases then, doesn't it? I would assume that
Where
most.
are you getting 5,000?
Well, on your director's report, you had the salary for fiscal year 20 is $520,800, and now it's $525,648, so it went up about $5,000. So that seems That's all 1% for step increases across the board. That seems pretty low. I could be, wrong, but
I'm not sure where I got that number from now.
okay. Okay,
I'm not sure.
okay. We'll double check them and I'll meet with Jim. Okay.
I think we should just do this meeting again tomorrow night.
Okay. For you? Okay. For you, we'll do it again tomorrow. Okay. Anything else on the budget? You'll let us know when we need to talk to people.
Yeah.
Okay. Trust transfer. I think we decided to table that for the next meeting. Early closing.
We'd like to close at 4 on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, like we usually do. And Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve close at 4 as well. I believe those are both Wednesdays, too. Sure.
Christmas Day and New Year's Day are both Wednesdays. So
Christmas Eve is a Tuesday, so we would close at 9 on Tuesday. So we would like to close at 4.
Want to make a motion?
I make a motion to allow the library to close at 4 on Thanksgiving Eve, Christmas Eve, and New Year's Eve.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
What do I have
Oh,
for the discussion?
Wait, oh,
Has there been times when we've ever had the whole day off for Christmas Eve?
Not since I've been here.
No. What time's the town close on Tuesday? I don't know.
They close at 3. Yeah.
We close at 3?
they always close at 3 though, right?
Yeah, they close at 3 anyway, so they'll probably close at 12
Yeah.
or something, I don't know.
So let's vote to close it then, and then if, we'll talk to Nina and see if she's planning on closing earlier, and then if so, we'll revisit it at our next meeting.
That sounds fair.
That sounds fair, yeah.
Okay. All in favor of the motion to close at 4 on these days? And Sam or I will talk to Nina.
I would be in favor of a motion to close early, time to be determined.
I don't think we can, why don't we make it, why don't we?
So your motion to close at 4 and then you're going to change it.
closes.
The town always closes.
It's a good try.
It was a good try.
They won't even be open until 1, right? It's a Tuesday?
Yeah,
They close at
So
noon.
so if
that's
we,
the
so if
truth.
we're open at 1 in town, if we open at 1 and town closes at noon, then
we don't open it up.
that's a problem.
So we're going to be open, we're going to have people come in for 3 hours on Christmas Eve.
Open early?
This is why, yeah, this is why you have to change your Tuesday and Thursday hours.
If Christmas was on Tuesday, then I could see, okay, the library's open at 10, right?
Right.
Okay, that's a decent amount of time for a library open, but Christmas Eve, we're opening at 1 and closing at 4. So we're open for 3 hours. Well, other people do come in earlier, but
I don't know, it's up to you guys make the hours.
motion was made.
Do the staff want the hours for that?
What we've done in the past is allowed the staff to come in earlier that day so they get their hours if they
Okay.
want them. Or other people can use vacation, so it's not costing anything that way. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People aren't losing pay and people are using vacation to earn time in order to be closed. So if you worked till 9 that night, you could come in the morning at 9 a.m. and you could work your hours. And, or that week, we've been pretty flexible about it, for, on the payroll. But I think the only thing that leaves us kind of, people would like to be treated with the same like when they see the town all exit and we're still here working, we like to have the same,
It's a hard pill to
I
swallow.
don't blame you one bit.
Yeah.
it's, you know, they do. The staff feels like, well, why can't I go home like my Cinderella? So,
Yeah, well, yes, but the town, if they were open 3 hours, if they closed, 2 hours early, then theoretically, we should be closing 2 hours early, but we're closing 5 hours early,
Well,
right? So,
Maybe the hours get adjusted for that day
Yeah.
because it's a Tuesday.
yeah, would it be too confusing for patrons to know that there's going to be special hours on Christmas Eve, and they're going to be morning hours, and so you'll be open from 10 to noon, or 10 to 1, just
Yeah,
say?
it'll
you should
confuse
see-
them.
I invite you
Yeah.
all to come on a Tuesday or Thursday morning, grab a coffee and sit in the room. Sam and I here, knock on the door. Why aren't you, it's like,
Yeah.
it's every 30 minutes lately.
We've
And
started
people are
putting
convinced-
signs
Yeah.
saying
They
we're not
still ring the
open.
doorbell, like,
Yeah,
for us personally to open the door for them lately. And we have to say, it's Tuesday,
Yeah.
you
and
know?
I'm like, well, why aren't you open?
Right. They are odd hours, and they were just left over from when we lost hours, and now they're just hanging out there.
Yeah. Would the staff like Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve off? Of course they would.
Yeah.
But, it doesn't make sense to open for 3 hours? I don't know that it does.
So why don't we just give you Christmas and New Year's off? New Year's Eve, I mean. Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve off. Why not just say you're not going to be open that day?
I think you're going to have a problem with the town hall side.
Okay.
I think it was previous people.
Previous ownership.
Yeah. The new is a little more forgiving.
so
Why don't we see what they're doing?
it's the same issue, though, than if the library's getting if the town hall had to work and you don't, right? You shouldn't get the special benefit either, right? So,
So maybe finding out what they're planning.
So this sort of came up the other day. We were at the department head meeting. We were talking about whether or not we should be open the day after Thanksgiving, because a lot of departments said that we should be closed that day. That's something that should come that has to come before the selectmen. So what Nina said was that she plans to be out that day, but her office will be open at 9 a.m. But she knows that there's only her and one other person right now. There's no assistant town administrator. So her secretary will basically have to be there. And she's been out for the last 4 weeks anyway, so Nina said now it's her turn. But, everybody wants the time off, obviously. But, I think Nina feels like if you open at a certain time, you should be open at that time. But I think she's okay with closing early, so, I don't know, it's up to you. She also said that, you guys are the elected board. We're talking about snow days, too. Before, Keith was like, no, you have to close when I close, and Nina was like, well, what do you guys want to do? What does the library want to do? And, so I said, well, usually I talk to the trustees, and before I would wait to see what Keith was doing, but if I think we should close, I think it should be up to me and the trustee, that she was okay with that. So I think she's pretty more easygoing.
There was a time that every time the schools were closed, the library was
Right.
closed. That is not the case anymore.
so if we back up, is the day we're concerned about Christmas Eve? Or Thanksgiving Eve is a Wednesday, closing at 4. I don't think anyone has an issue with. Christmas Eve, are we saying 1 to 4 is a bad idea, and New Year's Eve, 1 to 4?
New Year's Eve is not as much of a
Yeah, I think Christmas
holiday.
Eve.
And also,
I
it's
agree
the
with that, too.
holiday that, people have spent all their money and they're looking for something like, I'm serious, at the library, like, take that binge box home, and we can all watch DVDs now. It's a different,
Or they've been at home with their kids for a week and they
Right.
need
Yeah.
somewhere to go.
yeah. So it's a different thing. I think Christmas Eve, everyone either is cooking, traveling, that's and are we just open for 3 hours? I don't know, what's, I mean, you can't call people in for less than 3 hours, so.
I would suggest we close Christmas Eve and stay open New Year's Eve. That would be my
I
suggestion.
like that.
Me too. I like
Stay
that.
open.
That's a
And
good
stay open
suggestion.
until 4 on New Year's Eve.
Yep. And close, I think that's a good compromise. No?
I don't think you should get Christmas Eve off myself.
What did you just say?
I don't think we should be closed on Christmas Eve.
Why?
It's not a holiday. The town's gonna be open on Christmas Eve, why do we?
Well, can we find out?
I'm
what
pretty
the
sure they're not
town's-
gonna close the whole day.
No, but can we find out what they're doing?
In the past, they've closed at around 12.
Which, if the library were
Right.
open at 10, I
Right.
could
Say
see,
10 to, yeah, right.
you know, 10 to 1 or 10 to 2, but, yeah, I don't know.
It's
It's
those
tricky.
hours that get in the way. Those
In this
crazy hours.
particular year,
Yeah.
okay, this particular year with the days set the way they are, where you're not open until 1, it makes no sense to open to me. On another day, say Monday,
Didn't we have that same similar problem in one holiday? Something happened like that.
Something happened where the selectmen came and said, you guys can close.
Right, and we
These-
couldn't close
but we
because we had
couldn't
patrons
close.
sitting there.
Right.
Right,
Right.
right.
And it was like the day of, or like the
Yeah.
day before.
Okay, so why don't we vote Thanksgiving Eve and New Year's Eve now and table Christmas Eve until December meeting when we know what the town's doing and we can get a sense of what the selectmen are planning and doing? Because you don't need to know now anyway, right?
We kind of do, because we do scheduling ahead, and staff make their requests for vacation time now.
So,
I think Christmas Eve you should have off.
do you get it off? I don't.
No, that's
Christmas Eve
why
off.
I do.
You do, because they're closed for the week.
I think people should have Christmas Eve, Christmas, and the day after Christmas off. But no, we don't get off.
If it's
on
any
Christmas Eve.
consolation, and I know you'll probably hate me for this, Westford gives Thanksgiving and the day after off. They're closed, and they reopen on Saturday.
What does the town do for Westford?
They do the same thing.
The town
Mhm,
versus the library.
mhm. Yep, both of them.
Okay, so the library is following the town
Yes,
schedule.
yeah,
We are not.
right.
So all I'm suggesting is if the town closed for
Right.
Christmas Eve,
Then
we
we
would
would
close
close.
for Christmas Eve. But the town's not closed for Christmas Eve, as far as we know at this point.
Right.
So why
But
are
we don't
we,
open till after the town is closed, so how do you create parity?
is the dump closed on Christmas Eve?
I'll let you know in a minute.
The
I think
dump
they're
doesn't open
closing
till-
early.
They don't open till 1 o'clock, they open at noon, right?
so they'll be open for an hour before they close.
Well, if the library is going to be open on Christmas Eve, then they should have special hours that
That just
day.
confuses the patrons.
Well,
It's,
it's too bad.
it's.
Yeah, I mean,
It's,
it's Christmas Eve.
Well, if you're,
They're not used to
so then what's,
special hours in other places.
so what's gonna happen is we're gonna open early and the staff's gonna be sitting there because nobody's gonna think we're gonna be open.
well, you always think everyone that thinks you're open at 10 is going to be here.
Yeah, so we'll get two people for that entire time, and what's the point?
So how long do we have to wait before we just completely change the library hours and we don't have to deal with this problem anymore?
Well, that depends.
Okay.
Because we really need to do that.
Yeah.
They close at 3 on Christmas Eve.
The dump does.
Yep.
And they're open at 11 or noon normally?
Noon to
So-
3.
so
So we
they're-
could be,
So they're open 3 hours
so we
of their
could be
normal.
open 1 to 3, or,
Well, they're open, they're closing, yeah, they're closing early, they're open, well, you already said 1 to 3 doesn't work, so, because you need to have 3 hours. So you either open 1 to 4 or 12 to 3, which doesn't work because then you're off by your normal hours. So,
but that's what they're doing.
so, I don't have a problem closing early.
Mhm.
And I'm not, I mean, I just don't think we should be closed that day, because the town's not closed that day, right? They might be closing early that day. And the town offices might be closing early, but they're also shifted by your schedule, so that's just my opinion.
I also think we don't get that many patrons in on that day.
I agree with that, too.
So
But
let's-
it's the principle of it, right? That you're a town,
Yeah, but
You
the
don't
rest-
want-
the rest of us don't have that principle, Mark.
that's fine. You can be unprincipled if you want, but if we're saying that we're part of the town, we should be following the policies of the town. And the town saying they're closing early, they're not saying they're taking the day off.
At least that's what we think they're saying.
Well, that's what the dump is saying.
Dump is, yes, okay.
Okay, so there's really not an issue with Thanksgiving and New Year's?
I don't have a problem closing
At 4?
early on any of the days. I don't have a problem closing at 4 at any of the days. I do have a problem closing on Christmas Eve.
No.
I have this problem, I have the same thing every year.
Every year, yeah.
I mean, it's,
Yeah, but you guys are an elected board. You guys get to,
yes.
I mean, it's.
I only get one vote.
Yeah.
So if you guys
Do
want
you
to.
get the sense that the staff would want the day
Yeah, of
off
course they
that
would.
way? Okay.
Yes, oh, yes, oh, yes.
Unless, I mean,
Well, let's take it back. Do you have an idea that the staff would want any day off if we offer to say we're going to close on any
course they
day?
would.
So
My
you can't say,
wife,
but they don't get paid if that day,
Right.
Yeah,
right?
so-
So it's, you
Yeah.
know, if they want every day off, then they would not get any money.
Right.
no, we've already said we're shifting their hours, so they do get the money. They're just working in somewhere else.
Or some people just tend
But
to
if
not.
they were if they were closed, then there would be no shifting of those hours, or how would that work?
People that would, I don't know, Sam, what would we do?
What do you
Use
do with all the
vacation.
part-time people? The part-time people don't get vacation.
Right, so
So
they
what do
have
they
a,
do?
that's how we do it,
So benefited people take the day off if they want.
right.
Part-time people, they have to figure out how, we all have to figure out how we can fit them in at some other point so that they can get paid. If the library decides that it's a day, if the trustees decide it's a day off, they get paid. We don't have to figure out where Jeff has to go on Friday when he's not usually working, and then there's too many people, and then it's like a whole rigmarole thing that we have to figure out, and you have too many people at the desk, but in order for everybody to get the regular hours, that's how we have to do it.
But if you close.
But if we
you
close,
just
you
pay.
get paid the regular hours that you would have been
It's
paid.
paid like a snow day, or it's paid
Right.
whatever.
The schools get off Christmas Eve.
The schools close for 2 weeks. That's why
We're
they
not
get
going to
Not
be
2
closed for a
weeks.
full 2 weeks, trust me.
8 days.
And we don't deserve it? Excuse me.
No, I didn't say you didn't deserve it. I said you get close to 2 weeks off.
All right, well, I make a motion, let's start with the
Okay,
easy
we're
one.
starting
We'll start with the
again.
easy
Okay,
one.
Okay.
I make a motion that on Thanksgiving Eve and New Year's Eve, we close at 4.
I second that.
Okay, we done discussing those?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good.
And we can't wait until December 5th to discuss what is going to be done for Christmas Eve?
Can
I
I-
mean, we could, but it's,
Just to be clear, is there an official time that the town closes? You said 3, but they're all gone by noon.
all the departments have different times that they close, but usually they're all out of there by a certain.
Most of the town hall closes by 4 every day of the week, and then 3 on Fridays.
But
Could we-
on the New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve.
Could
it's
we,
kind of-
wait,
Right,
is there any,
selectmen come through a lot of,
Yeah.
and will say, oh, we're giving you may close now. And that's what happened last year, right?
Yeah.
Chuck came by and said you can close. But we couldn't close because we had people there. So.
It's not really Chuck's decision to say the library can close
Right,
either.
No.
no,
Right, so,
right. So we
Who's-
closed.
How's it his decision to say that the other departments are closed? Isn't it the board decision? Don't they have to, I mean, how did he decide that at the last minute?
I don't know.
Happened, I thought, last year. I don't,
Yeah, that's what happened. I don't know how, but that's what happened.
is there any way we could get an official closing time from the town? Go ask and say, we need to know. We need to know what time officially that this building is closing.
I mean, we could, but the issue right now is that we do all the scheduling ahead. Staff is already asking for time off,
Yep.
so it'd be better to know
Right now.
now.
Are there any regular staff members on Thursdays who have requested off for Christmas Eve already?
Yep,
Yeah.
How many would you say?
my wife.
You know, there's been at least 4 or 5 that I know of that I can think of off the top of my head.
So it's obviously a day that is creating conflict for staff who usually works that day, so it should be a day that the library is closed. In my opinion, just to make it easier.
Is that a motion?
So I will make a motion, but if it can be sort of, it's not, I don't want it to become precedent on a day that, hopefully someday the hours will open at 10 every day, and then there won't be this issue of only being open for
So
3
if-
hours.
Okay, so if we're closed, you're saying that our staff get paid. So
Yes.
the people in the town hall where the offices are open and they go home early are getting paid for the hours they work, but our employees are getting paid for not working.
I don't know, but I'm gonna pay them. That's up to me.
That reminds me of something that happened, but it was just the reverse for us. Maybe it was last year. We did work, and they went home. And there was, again, that bad taste that here we are working on it, and they're getting paid, so they're going to feel the same way. So you have to kind of find some, I don't know, equitable, yeah. I guess what we're trying to do is prevent what happened last year.
Yeah, but we don't have enough information to know what they're doing. So
But you need an answer now.
you want an answer now, but we don't know what they're doing.
I know what they've done every year since I've been here, and it's that they close early.
Yes. But they don't close.
They don't close, but they also have different hours than us. They're front-loaded.
Their hours are all,
Yeah. I mean, if it was a Monday, then, yeah.
Yeah.
If it was a
Yeah.
Wednesday or a Friday, yeah.
Right, big deal. We could go up
Yeah,
their hours and
yeah.
just bump.
It wouldn't make any difference. So what if, all right, so every day when the library opens at 11 or whatever time, the late time, there's still people that come in at 8:30 and 9:30, right? All right, so could we just, those people come in and just say, okay, we're closing at noon? We just never open, but those people are here and then they leave.
what are you doing with the staff that just work the desk? What are they doing for their hours? They're just coming in to do what?
They're not coming in.
Then they're not getting paid.
He's paying.
So
them.
why is,
Vacation.
if they're full-time, the part-time ones can't take vacation.
Then they
Like, the
can,
people who are there are me, Helen, Susan.
In the
They all
morning.
get benefited.
yeah.
Yeah, so
It's the only
what he's
person-
saying is, you guys come in, but the other people don't. So that's the
So
exact
the
opposite of what you
people-
need.
Okay. Come in.
The library opens at 1. What time do those people who work the desk come in?
Well, they can close.
11:30, 12. Like
That's just
12-ish.
Jean, yeah, then Andy comes in 12:30.
They're 12:30,
Yeah.
sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
12:31. Like
And then the rest
10
come
of
right
one.
in as we open, because that's how we have been able to do it.
We used to have people coming in before we opened, and now we don't have as many people coming in way before, so that we could be
Because,
open more hours.
don't forget, right, we moved, when, we used to be 2 o'clock, we went to 1 o'clock.
Yes.
So what happened was, all we did was, now people come in and hit the ground running, because they don't have that hour
Yep.
to do everything that they had before.
Yes.
John.
I'm all for closing early, I'm not for closing. So that's my stance on it. But
All right, well, let's see, library people come in by 9, 8?
But
No one's
the-
here at 8. I'm usually here around 9.
But it's the wrong people that are coming in
Right.
early.
Yeah, I know.
That's what you're
But
probably.
you're saying you're paying them anyway.
No,
No.
If you-
If we close, I can pay them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm proposing being
But
open
if
for,
I- So it's just Helen, me, and Susan, and sometimes Asco. But we all get benefits anyway, so we could just take that
Take a
day
vaca-
off.
Right, you can just use vacation for
Yeah.
that. That's what we'd end up doing, or, personal time. But you're talking about the people that would come for the desk
At 1
at
o'clock.
1 o'clock, that you can't ask them to come from 1 to 3. what do? You ask them to come in at 10 if they want to, but then we're not opening. It's that tricky part of that 11, that opening at 1.
And we can't just change the hours for that one day and say special hours.
Yes, we can,
Yeah.
but
It's too much of a hassle.
it's not that it's too much of a hassle for me or the library, it's that people won't come in. It's already a day that where people are barely gonna be coming in,
Okay.
and then it's, you
And
tell
you're
them
changing
that.
your hours. so that
You're
they're
changing your
completely-
hours.
We're closing when we normally open.
Right, and it's
You're gonna have
like,
a lot of angry
you're gonna have a lot of
people.
people who are confused, and
Okay.
you don't want a confused patron, believe me.
No, I
So,
get that, I get that.
You know, it's, yeah.
Come on, Helen.
There's no easy, you want
There's
to be
no easy way
fair,
out
you
of
want to
it.
be fair, but you also want to protect the people that are coming in. And you want to be fair to our staff, but you also want to have parity between us and the town hall, because you don't want ill feelings.
Either
So,
way.
either way, last year was a little ill feelings on our half, so we're trying to prevent that. In order to prevent that, I don't know it's up to you guys. You guys are elected board. I just work here.
What will happen when we have a new building? Is the same rule going to apply when the town closes, the library
should.
closes?
Well, we're working on,
It's
we're
not, it's
working on
not a
different.
problem of sharing the building. It's a
Okay.
problem of sharing,
The personnel bylaw.
But we are going to expand hours, so hopefully we would open the same time every day. And then some of this problem will go away, some of it will go away.
This is a problem we kind of inherited, as you know what happened. It just, our hours got cut. When I first, believe it or not, in 2004, I was hired for 35 hours.
Gene was hired for 36.
Okay. When things were really bad, I went down to, 27 or 28. Now it's come back to 30. Still, it just, we've never really recovered from that cycle, and now what's happening is, it's kooky as far as to the patrons, because they're like, what do you mean you're not open?
I don't think we ever had normal, where we opened at the same time every day, though. I don't remember that ever being true. We always opened in the afternoons on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Always, yeah. It used to be 12, though.
Yeah.
Yes, it was 12, I
Yeah.
would give you that, but it wasn't, it wasn't 10
Right.
o'clock every
Right.
morning.
No, it was 10 or 12. It wasn't like, 2, and then now we've pushed it to 1, and we've got to somehow get it back.
It would be nice if we were
Consistency.
consistent on when we open and, and more consistent when we close too, right? But that's a different problem we have to solve.
Yeah.
So does someone want to make a motion for something, whatever that might be?
Well, it's been discussed till there's really nothing more to discuss, because there's no
Yes.
good way out.
So,
If we make a motion to close on Christmas Eve the entire day, will there be some action by the town? That makes for the bad feelings on their side.
yes, so that
But some of
But
that-
you're still going to, if you close for the entire day, so are we coming in, like the people that are the 8 AM people, are we coming in that day to, like, whatever time? Are we just taking, is it just a closed day?
If the trustees close Christmas Eve,
Closed
it's
day,
closed
okay,
day.
okay.
So in the past, we go back far enough, we closed on Christmas Eve, and then there was hard feelings on the town side because they were here,
Mhm,
right? Or when we close on the snow days, right, and they were here, right?
mhm,
There was the same bad feelings, and now there's bad feelings coming the other way that they're
Mhm.
closing and we're not.
mhm.
So there needs to be some parity, and we don't know what that parity is because we don't know what their plans are. So what would happen if we voted now to close at 4 and then revisit it and potentially close all day if they decided to close all day? It's better than going the other way, I presume, right?
Yeah, but we make the schedule now for then.
Right.
So it's,
Well, you're no worse than you were for Thanksgiving Eve, right? You have less time for Thanksgiving Eve than you did for Christmas Eve, planning for that, so. We
Yeah.
just voted Thanksgiving Eve, which is 3
But
weeks
if-
away, Christmas Eve
If
will
the
be.
schedule is made and then we do decide to close it, you said that people would get paid anyway.
So
Yeah,
they should be.
I would pay them, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why doesn't the town have their schedule worked out in advance? Like, wouldn't that make sense, that they would be like, okay, for the calendar year of 2020, we're gonna be closing at this time, the Thanksgiving Eve, and Christmas Eve, and New Year's Eve, and, you know,
Well, the dump has, we don't know that the town office.
Schools
I'll
do.
give Helen
Yeah.
a minute, she's looking. Thank God somebody can run these things.
We don't have it worked out, why would they?
it would just make sense to do that, I would think. That would
not part of-
also alleviate problems, so then we don't have to vote it in every year, because we know the town's schedule, we can follow that, and that will be in.
I work for a private company, it's spelled out on January 1st for the whole year.
Yeah.
But it
And all
isn't-
they do is give you a reminder the week before, remember, we're going to be open or closed on this day.
Yeah, but they don't have, but if they decide to close early on Christmas Eve, they would tell you a
Finding a
couple days
calendar,
before.
huh?
That's not something that comes out January 1st.
It was easy for the transfer
Yeah, it
station.
is.
Yeah.
Because my company would have the holidays, and then they would just come around and say, go home at lunchtime on Christmas Eve, so
They
it
get
goes
all
both
the
ways.
holidays all spelled out.
The holidays are spelled out, the closing earlies aren't.
It seems like we're the most people that, and the transfer station are the only two that really have it
They're not,
posted.
they don't post it.
Does electric post it?
Who is the one who usually posts it when it is decided?
Each department posts their own hours.
Okay. But when the town hall decides to close at a certain time during the day, who is the person who
There-
makes?
Nina's office is open certain hours.
Okay,
Planning's open certain hours. Finance is open certain hours. Town clerk is open.
Okay.
There are times when you come in this building, some doors are closed, some doors are
Okay.
open. It's not like they're all open at the same time and all closed at the
So
same
when
time.
the,
so if they do that, why can't we just adhere to our own
That's
chosen
exactly what
times?
you can do. Which is
Right.
what we're trying to do right now.
Right, so why is it such a big issue then if we close on Christmas Eve, when there could be some people who are working until 4 PM that day, and there are others who have left at noon or 3? I mean, why is this even an issue? Let's just choose the time that we want to close,
so
and
the
that's
departments
it.
don't get to decide what time they close on a given day, right? They have, for a specific day, they decide that their hours are Monday through Friday, 9 to 4.
Right,
And whatever it is. And when they decide to close early, that's not their decision, because they don't get to make that decision unless they're taking vacation time, right?
Mhm.
You, as an employee, you don't get to decide which hours that you just are taking the day off.
I don't
Right,
see
but
that.
there are some
Right.
offices that have one person working there.
Yes. And then when that person is on vacation, that office isn't open,
Right.
effectively.
Okay.
That's what you, so.
Right.
Now, who decides when this building closes is either Nina or the selectmen or the combination of the two. So if she decides that Nina and/or the selectmen, we'll just use Nina as the authority here, if she decides that they're closing, every department can close at 1 o'clock on Christmas Eve, then it overrides what everyone else, because she's basically shutting down this side of the building. Right, she's saying everyone
just
can go
text
home
her.
at that day.
There you go.
Hey, what time are you guys closing?
In the past, has Keith or Anthony done that? Where they make the
Yes.
decision? Okay.
Yes,
Yes.
And how far in advance do they usually do that?
the day of.
Right.
Well, I think it is time that we communicate with Nina in advance and
Yes.
say, we have these holidays coming up, we would like to know what time you plan on closing the town hall, town side, because we need to decide what time we are going to close.
Right. The problem is, that doesn't help us
Right.
for right
Right
now.
now.
That's great for next year.
Okay,
Nina's also new, and she probably doesn't even know she's doing
okay. Well, then, let's say, hey, we're gonna close for Christmas Eve. We think that town hall should close then too.
Here's the problem. Nina can give you the stock response by looking at it, say, oh, 3 o'clock highway department's closing,
Okay,
3 o'clock,
right.
this and that. It doesn't, and that's what we go on, and that's how this all started. Then what happens is, all of a sudden at noontime, you're allowed to go home.
Okay.
So that needs to be, I guess that
Right.
needs to be tightened up somehow.
They shouldn't, they really can't do that on any public-facing office with any, they shouldn't be able to do that with any public-facing office, that they're changing their hours the day of.
I should shut my mouth. Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you post what hours you're open, and you should be
Yeah.
open those hours.
Right.
Right.
Well, I mean, these are things that I didn't know about as a resident of
Right.
Littleton, which I think is helpful. That, I mean, what if I needed to
It all comes from
come?
good feeling. People
Yeah.
are trying to do something nice for their employees. When they come in and say on Christmas Eve, you can go home, they're not being, like a Dickinson
Right.
character. They're
Right.
being like, hey, you guys can go home, and they're trying to be nice to you. So it comes from a good place, and you hate to, be negative about something that comes
Right.
from a good place for someone. But we just want to do it so that we can advocate the best for the people that work for us.
Right. But I just, as David just pointed out, like with my husband's employment, they too, on January 1st, they know the entire calendar year of days off for the office. That's what they get in advance, and that would be very helpful to have going
Okay, so we know that.
towards the future.
We
So-
know what the days off are, they're written in the
Okay.
personnel bylaw. Those are the days off.
Okay.
Christmas Eve is not a day off. However, departments are making adjustments on their hours, as we
Okay.
just found from the highway department is closing early on Thanksgiving Eve and Christmas Eve. So, and they have posted that they're closing early. They're not giving their employees the day off, though.
Okay,
We don't know what the town offices are doing,
okay.
because they haven't posted anything for those days.
And you want to do what the town offices are doing?
I think we should plan on closing early on Christmas Eve. If we find out the town offices are deciding to close completely, then we readjust and close completely.
They're not going to close completely, though. They will close early, but they will not close completely. But their closing early is different from what, it'll be after we open, or before we open.
Yeah, but it's the same with, the transfer station. Their closing early is before the transfer station's open, and the transfer station's still open. So you're shortening your hours proportional to what they're shortening their hours, right? They're normally open a full day, and they're open a half day.
Does
and you're
anybody have
open
any
a half.
stats on how many people actually come in on Christmas Eve?
There's probably not that many, and I don't
know.
I would guess it's not that many. But that's not a reason to close either.
I think we should all resign.
I think someone just needs to make a motion, we vote on it, and then we'll call it a meeting.
I make a motion, we vote to close at noon time.
We can't close any time. What time are we opening?
We wouldn't. Well, I mean, let's put it this way, you think they're gonna start leaving at noon? We don't know.
They always close, they always leave earlier.
All I know is that the people who cook for Christmas Eve dinners for somewhere between 6 and 20 people don't come in to the library on Christmas Eve. So I would think that a lot of the people that work here in the library are probably in the same boat.
I don't see what's any different than Thanksgiving Eve.
And
Because you don't have Thanksgiving on the eve.
Right.
You have it on the
Christmas Eve is
day.
different.
Turkey goes in the
It's actually
oven
more
at
of a
7 in the
holiday for
morning.
some people than the actual
So
day.
it does on Christmas Day too, so it's, I don't see if there's any,
No, Christmas Eve, there's a big dinner. Maybe you don't do that. Okay, I get that. So, my wife gets out of bed at 7 o'clock in the morning, okay? And when she's making her tea, she's starting to cook for the people that are coming at 6 o'clock. As a matter of fact, she even cooked the day before.
I don't have any problem with people that want Christmas Eve off, taking it off. I just don't think we should be closed. So, if your wife, if the Christmas Eve dinner is that important and you need the time off, then request the day off. But I still think 1 to 4 is a reasonable shift.
Let's do the opening early thing, 10 a.m. to 1 or 2. I'll be there.
I'll be there.
Helen will be
Yes.
there. We will open the library. Susan will be there. What that?
We'll see how it goes. See how, I think what you're going to have as an issue is people that think they're going to come in at 1 and we're going to be saying we're closing.
Yeah. That's exactly what's going to happen. But we'll do it.
That's okay, that's one day of the year, it's a holiday, it's, some people,
So your,
most people
wait,
will
so
understand.
your position is we should be open 10 to 2?
11, 12, 1, 2, yeah.
Okay.
And just make sure that you advertise social media and the newsletter
Okay.
and signs that.
Someone want to make
this
a
is
motion that
special.
we're open 10 to 2 on Christmas Eve?
10 to 2, is that? I make a motion that the library opens from 10 to 2 on Christmas Eve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Other business?
Yep, I got some.
Okay.
Terry, it won't take long, okay? I was told that there was somebody walking around inside the library looking at all kinds of stuff. Okay, and so somebody said, well, can I help you? Oh, no, I'm just looking around, I'm from the COA. Okay, now, I think the person who was talking to this person didn't recognize them as actually being from COA, maybe representing COA as in an inspector or somebody who was doing a study for some reason. Are you aware of this at all?
I heard someone came by to look at the library, but they
Yep,
weren't official.
I stopped her. I think I have her card in here too. I do. Because I was driving up to return a book, and I saw this woman outside taking pictures of the outside of the library, and I thought, I'm just gonna go and find out what's happening. So I pull in and I said, excuse me, who are you? And she said, I'm working on the space study. I'm a trustee, I'm just a little concerned. Okay. Who is this nosy Parker? So her name is Suzanne somebody.
She's with the architect.
Do you want me to pass
Yes,
it right around? You guys all
Yeah,
want
she
to
may
see?
have that.
I think Dave's talking about somebody else. The person.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that this is,
Yeah.
since the vote, it's.
Yeah, there's a town study
Yeah,
group and
Yeah.
architects that are looking at the building,
Yeah.
but there was someone who,
They were actually in here, up in children's room, every place walking around, looking. So I just find that kind of interesting that happened just right after the library got voted in. I just thought I'd mention that.
Okay.
And that's all we know about it, right?
all I heard was some guy was looking around. But I didn't hear that he was in an official capacity of any kind.
Can we look again about getting someone for taking notes? Can we ask?
There's no one that wants to do it.
We need to,
Yeah.
I'm gonna pester Linda again then. Okay. Okay,
Pass that back to Susan.
anything else? Want to make a motion to adjourn? Someone?
I make a motion to adjourn.
thank you, Mara.
Did I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, our next meeting is December 5th. Thank you.